Hi, since some of you couldn't make it to our Zoom meeting, and some of you went to the Zoom meeting today that there was some mix-up on, I thought I would just send this to you. This is the presentation I did at the Zoom meeting, and it's only a few minutes long, so I thought I would share this with you. Okay, so most of you probably know what the Jobs First initiative is, what we're doing here, but for those of you who don't, this is a program that started under COVID. It was started as the SURF program, and it was developed really to take advantage of what was happening at COVID, which was to stimulate job growth after everybody was locked down, and to do that in a way that might be more community-led, climate forward, and involve all those underrepresented populations. So that's kind of how it got started. It went through two different phases of projects, and we're now getting to the point where we're doing some pilot programs and wrapping it up in September with a report that will go out on the activation plan with the hopes that you'll be able to use this network and the report that we put together for years to come to plan out, what's going on in Orange County in terms of tourism and job creation in the future. So that's kind of what it's all about. A little bit about me. I spent 12 years as a performing artist. I know it's not obvious when you look at me, but I started my career as a break dancer, believe it or not, and an actor, and worked for 12 years in the film industry, toured internationally, and taught in prisons, juvenile halls, uh, hospitals, community centers, and had a long career also teaching. And then for 30 years, I ran cultural centers. And when I came to Orange County, it was run the Muckenthaler Cultural Center in 2007. And about 6 months after I got there, the recession hit. And during the recession, we grew 400%, which when most organizations were having trouble during the recession. So people started asking me how to speak about it, go around and speak about it, and then I ended up writing a book about it. And that book was read by one of my Rotary members, who was the president of Hope International University. He offered me a scholarship to their MBA and nonprofits program. And I did that. And while I was doing that, someone else read my book at Cal State Long Beach and asked me to start teaching there nonprofit leadership program, which I developed with them. And now I still teach that, excuse me, now I still teach that, but at Cal Poly Pomona. And I also was asked to be on the board of the Gene Esche Center for Nonprofit Research at Cal State Fullerton, and eventually took over as the director there on an interim basis. And I did that for a couple of years. I written three books, two on nonprofit leadership, one on North Orange County history when I was at the Muckenthaler Cultural Center, which is a historic site as well. And then I ended up being the founding director for the Friends of Fullerton College Foundation. And in that role, we put together the first drone pilot apprenticeship program in the United States, with Dr. Walrod being involved with that. And that's how him and I connected. And he asked me to be a consultant on this. I was actually scheduled to do it a year ago, but I got a big contract while this got delayed. So I ended up doing that instead. And now I'm back. As Jack Tone got another job running a new museum at the Great Park, I'm back now to do this job. So I've been a business professor also for 12 years at Cal Poly Pomona, Cal State Fullerton, Fullerton College, and Cal State Long Beach. And I'm the author of three books and a podcast, as I said. So a little bit about the process. When I took over just this month, I noticed that there was a 67-page plan that I have to update. And it has a lot of overlapping tactics and objectives. And to be frank, I found it a little confusing. And I thought, if I'm finding it confusing, I know all of you will probably find it confusing as well. So I took some time to distill that into a single page plan, and I am sending it to you in this email. And it looks like this. And the things that are highlighted here are the things that you're going to be helping me with. And I'll just go over them really quickly. So the first thing we have to do is, from now till February, just kind of expand on this group that we've started, the steering committee group, and to get more voices in the conversation because I'm going to be developing a a survey, a study, and then update those things into the plan with your best practices, recommendations, emerging trends, skill gaps, etc. And that's going to be really important. And then the next part of it is to expand on our research to make sure we have research on exactly what's happening in Orange County in terms of the labor market analysis, the existing programs, the existing funding, the developing trends, et cetera, and incorporating technology, innovation, and green designs into it. And I'll be doing some focus groups on that as well. And then we will be rolling out some pilot programs that have already been funded. And in our case, it's going to be Store One, Cooperation Santa Ana, and Microfarm Project, which is also part of the same group as Cooperation Santa Ana. I believe they're connected, and that's the Daisy and Walnut program. So, or Walnut and Daisy, I should say, farm. And then I should mention that RevHub OC also has a tourism project, but they're going to be under a different cohort because they're part of technology, but we'll be reporting some on what they're doing as well. And then once that is all done, all of that will go into a report, an update, a OneDrive of all the things, all the research I've created, all the networking I've done, and it'll be handed off to the collaborative, this working group, to industry leaders so that you can use it to expand on what we've done. And I think if I were one of you, I would be really interested in this because basically you're getting a consultant for free to do a lot of work in terms of analyzing the industry and seeing what's emerging and creating the jumping off point for you to do strategic partnerships that would expand on your work. So when we're all done, you'll have uh, a list of all the funding, all the employers, and all of the training that happens in Orange County in this sector, the tourism sector. And that will be very useful for you to expand on this network for your own purposes and your own strategic partnerships. And just to kind of tell you a quick story about that, in 1893, the orange growers of California decided they wanted to get together and form a network, much like we're doing now with tourism. And at that time, it was much cheaper to get an orange in New York City from Italy than it is from California because they could just go over the Atlantic on a boat and deliver oranges um, and get them there pretty fresh. Whereas ours, the trains had just started and they weren't that great. They weren't that reliable. They were hot. The box cars were hot and the oranges would be spoiled by the time they got there. They didn't have refrigeration yet. So when they got together, they actually invented the refrigeration that we use for box cars. They did some other technology that would make for longer growing seasons. And then they lobbied to put a tariff on Italian oranges in 1909. And that tariff led to us having the biggest orange industry during the Great Depression and leading to what was called the second gold rush, where we were the state that was doing very well during the Great Depression when a lot of other states were hurting. And it was because of our orange industry. So all of that is the result of really good networking and strategic partnerships. And I think we can do the same with tourism as a result of this project. Also, just wanted to show you the SWOT analysis. And as you can see, the great opportunities for tourism in Orange County is leveraging those strategic partnerships and making those connections from this program that we're doing. So you're getting all this for free, my work for free, and it's something that you can use then to build on your own work. This is the current committee as we have it today, and we need to expand on this. And to do that, I looked at, well, where are the tourists? And these are the 12 areas that if anyone visits Orange County, they're very, very likely to go to at least one of these 12 places. So all the tourists kind of intersect in these 12 places. And I want to make sure that all 12 of them are either on our committee or at least interviewed by me so that their voices can be part of the resulting plan and report. Also, kind of looking that by service planning area, or what they call SPAs. They're pretty dispersed throughout the county. So I make sure all of the counties represented and all of the destination marketing organizations are represented and all of the areas of tourism are represented, including all of these here. All right. I have already started with some lists. I put together a list of all of the education programs in the tourism area and all of the underserved programs that work in the tourism area, including Karoot, which is an organization that does food trucks for people who are formerly of the uh, uh, sorry, I had a mental break there. Karut, which is working with people who are victims of sexual trafficking and human trafficking, and Project Kinship, who is working with people who are returning from prison, TIA, who is working with immigrants, recent immigrants. So all of that will be part of my research as well. The Rising Scholars Program, also people returning from prison, Project Rebound, people returning from foster care situations. So all of those will be part of it as well. And then the next step would be to do a listening tour, surveys, and make sure all these voices are heard about what is coming, what is here, what tourism should be, best practices, and what's missing, so that we can have an activation plan to kind of do our best to lay out what the future should be for tourism in Orange County. And then everything that I'm doing will be shared with those people on the committee, you all, on a Microsoft OneDrive so that you'll have access to all the documents as they're created. And all of these documents, I've already created a version of, and I'm going through vetting them now. So that's it. Normally, I would ask you for questions, but this is online. So I'm going to stop it right here.